Hi, my name is Jonathan Kafori, and I'm one of the co-writers on Project Volare. So in writing Project Volare, Joel, the director, came to me and he said, hey, I have this idea and what I want to do is shoot it in this super constrained timeline. Here's the germ of the idea, what can you do with this? And I've told Joel multiple times what's nice about our working relationship is that he sees things in pictures and I see things in words, and that allows us to work together very well. And in this project, it was shot so quickly, the storyline happens so fast, that one of the challenges is how do you communicate everything that needs communicated in the story, give the actors the information they need without it being a week-long process, a 2-week process. Because when Joel pitched this idea, he was saying, this is gonna be fast, I want it in this time frame, and then I'm shooting in this time frame. And that was a real challenge. One of the things that I tried to do as the writer was, especially in the early episodes, you'll see this as it develops and all, I wanted this to have replay value. And to me, that's good storytelling, where there's replayability. It's not something where you watch it once and done, but as an aspiring writer, someone who likes to tell stories, I want people to be able to hear these lines, to see these episodes, and then go back the next time and hear it in a whole different way and add value to the story in that context. And one way you have to do that, you have to have a good plot and you have to have good characters. I had ideas about this is how Alex ends up where he's at. This is why the gunman behaves the way he does. I had that for every character. Now how the actors approach that, that's up to them entirely. What's important is on my end as the writer, I had my own thoughts and my own ideas. And hopefully when you watch these episodes, you'll be able to hear these lines, you'll be able to hear these words, and you'll know that there's more to it than just, here's some people who decided to do a short, threw some lines down, the actor said it, and they have a nice day. Not at all. There's intention behind the words. That's very important. Of course, whenever you write something, at least I do, whenever I write something and I hear it, I go, what if I had done this? What if I had done that? So the question is, how do you write good dialogue? And I think that starts with loving the words on the page. You have to love language and expressing thoughts through words. And on my end, there's a huge difference between saying, they've got it, versus they have got it.
Action. Come on, we gotta move. Come on. We're gonna go.
One thing that I try to do is, I try to earn lines. I don't ever want to write something where an actor can sit there and go, XYZ, and this happened. I want it to be something where the actor wants to say these words. There's nothing more boring in dialogue than, this is what person A said. Oh, that's what person A said? Yes, this is what person A said. That's incredibly and entirely boring. A professor shared this with me once when he was talking about accessing Shakespeare's language. So that was the application of this, but it applies to the way that I want to write. And what he had said was that Shakespeare's language shouldn't be, and this isn't word for word, so forgive me if I botch this, but it shouldn't be thin like gossamer, but it should be bold and thick, like the rigging of a ship, and visible at a distance. And in writing good dialogue, you should never write something that is thin and flimsy. It should be, in your choice of words, in the intentionality behind the words, whether it is a whole monologue or one word. You want intention behind that, and you want it to be something that the actor can chew. There's nothing better in the world than, well, one of the things that's best to me is hearing lines that you've written come to life.
I don't think we have the time. Dodged the bullet. Hit by the train. Bullet of the train. bullet or the train.
That line, dodge the bullet hit by the train. I have been wanting to use that for so long, and I haven't been able to. And when Joel brought this idea to me, I can't do a backflip, but if I could have, I would have done one in the hallway right there, because I want to hear that line and I wanted to see it come to life. And so in that scene, dodge the bullet hit by the train, I about died. As a writer, I loved hearing that. And to write dialogue, you have to be excited about what you're writing. You have to want to hear these lines. But to use that line again, dodge the bullet hit by the train, it's one of those lines that it's very particular in its application. If it wasn't in that scenario, I don't know where else I could possibly use it. But you have to, in writing dialogue, you have to be excited about what you're writing, but you have to be grounded at the same time and write things that people could say and would say. There's a couple different examples that come immediately to mind where the first time through you watch it and you're going to think it means this over here. But the second time you watch it, you're going to go, oh, this is what he was talking about. And the first one that comes to mind is when the gunman says, I'm very curious as to how you'll do.
I'm very curious as to how you'll do.
That's an example of writing lines with layers. You don't always want your lines to be something where the actor says them and that's the only way that they can be taken. And the next time you watch the movie, it's exactly the same thing, etc., etc., etc. Some of the most enjoyable experiences I have as a movie viewer is watching a film, hearing the deliveries, hearing the lines, getting a picture of what's going on, and appreciating it, and then going back a second time, and you hear the same lines, the same music, the same director, same lights, but because you understand what happens later in the story, you go, what? I didn't realize that. That was a clue. That was a clue back there. And as a writer, that's what you want to do. As someone who's writing dialogue, you want to provide those moments to the viewer or to the audience if you're writing for the stage. The point is, whenever you're writing, the audience is a component. They're part of the experience, and you want to write dialogue that is engaging, that takes them along for a ride. And that is something that they'll want to come back and hear again and again and again. Everyone has their role in the creative process, and you need to own yours and know your craft. And that brings us full circle back to what I try to do as the writer, the co-writer in this, is to know my craft, supply character, and supply plot, and then let everyone else play their part.